Corporate or otherwise business-related blogs have become a very effective way to build authority, to market a brand, to share insights, and provide valuable information to a large and/or a growing audience. A corporate blog is an integral part of your marketing portfolio, so it is important to make it the best it can be. Now, even if you already have the basics in place, and even if you feel like you're already doing everything you can, there is always more to do, more to learn, and more to earn from your blog. So let's look at some of these tips and techniques. SEO Site Checkup provides helpful tools to evaluate your blog site and determines where the most change is needed. And hey, let me give it to you straight. If you're thinking that your blog doesn't need change, think again. With all the latest Google updates and changes, there's always something that you've overlooked or unaware of, so it's always in your best interest to go to the experts for help. Google butters its bread by constantly staying busy implementing new methods and strategies for better search results. And as they do so, they are not really concerned about the feelings of webmasters and all their constantly evolving techniques for leveraging the most out of their content to elbow each other out of the way and compete for the top search spots. Google is, of course, only concerned with the end user's experience. So as they create a more effective website for their users, it's important for you to follow suit and do the same for yours. So here are 9 effective ways that you can improve your corporate blog. Now, these are general tips and tricks that apply to most, but if you'd like a more personal and comprehensive review of your blog, feel free to contact us at SEO Site Checkup, and we can give you a more in-depth analysis and load you up with more targeted suggestions specific to what you're trying to do. But for now, the basics. Number 1, be sure to always use categories. Most blogs do not use categories effectively or even at all, but in order to organize posts, categories are needed. Don't overdo it, of course, and keep it to a minimum, but clear navigation is needed for readers visiting your blog from the search results or from links coming in from another page. It helps them find what they're looking for, it keeps them engaged, and this keeps them browsing. If a reader does not immediately see the information that they need clearly, they are likely to bounce from your page pretty quickly. So be sure to add a category widget on the sidebar of your blog and make sure the categories are relevant and properly organized. These internal links allow the visitor to go from one page to another from within your blog without having to go back to the search engine. So if they are reading an article on how to glue in a weave, why not link to other helpful articles such as how to take out a weave, how to care for a weave, or where the heck to even buy a good weave in the first place. You can also add links to products or services that relate to the topic that are offered on your site, and so on. The longer you keep your visitor on your website, the better. And from there, if you can turn the visitor into a customer, even better than that. But when you don't have everything they need right at their fingertips, you risk them bouncing to another site to find it. And note that this tip, as well as the rest that follow, are focused on user experience, but of course this goes hand in hand with search results themselves. The better the user experience, and the more time users spend on your site, the more positive signals Google and other search engines are getting about your content, and thus the more they're going to prioritize showing your site in the results over sites that aren't performing so well. Tip number 2, make sharing easy. With social media networking at the center of internet marketing, having the proper share links on your blog posts is essential. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, even sharing via email options are ideal for any blog post. Now, many blog owners actually neglect Twitter due to the nature of Twitter's short content that they feel can't capture their longer content, but a Tweet This button can be added that will send content between pull quotes directly to Twitter with your information. And there's no good reason to avoid Twitter and its huge audience that is plugged in and active seemingly around the clock. Go lucky and go viral there, and you'll have a stampede of traffic raining down upon your servers. Number 3, use a clear call to action. So instead of just having a comment button, have one that says leave a comment, or another that says read previous comments. Make sure the button is easy to see. Letting readers know what you expect is sometimes all that's needed, so make sure all of your buttons are compelling, unmistakably clear, and that they entice the reader to click through. The biggest reason why people don't take any action is because they weren't asked to, or the call to action wasn't clear enough. So always be crystal clear about what you want, what you need, or what you expect from your visitors, and chances are they will do as asked. Number 4, cross-link related content. Cross-linking to relevant content either within your site or to other sites is a great way to decrease the overall bounce rate on your blog. Now, manually linking relevant sites is good, but using a WordPress plugin is better and takes less time to manage. Those are the basic tips. Now let's go beyond the basics. Number 5, use powerful pictures. Visual content is a very important part of marketing. In order to get readers to see what you have to say, they first have to be drawn into it. And how do you draw them in? With powerful pictures. Consider a kindergartner browsing through a book. If they cannot read all the words, the pictures help them understand the context. Now, of course, your readers can read, I'm not suggesting that, but it can definitely be argued that they don't always want to. This is where images come in. Have images in and throughout your blogs that not only help support the text, but help to reveal it or give the user shortcuts for understanding it. Tip number 6, use social media to come up with ideas for content. Most business owners focus so much energy on creating and publishing content and on gaining social followers by publishing their content on social media, by commenting and responding to relevant content and so on, that they often miss the forest for the trees by not zooming out and seeing that all these social platforms that they use are also great landscapes for gathering ideas. So always keep your eyes out, and if you aren't using them already, go to YouTube, to Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Flickr, and so on, with the idea of gathering new ideas in mind. Look for content that seems to be getting the most attention, topics that are getting everyone talking. Look for content that you have something to say about that's not being said. Is there content that you could do better with? Then do it. Or maybe you have a previous blog post that could help answer a reader's online question, or that supports a message behind someone's post. So, use that as part of the post. This method allows you to answer the particular question on the given social media site, as well as direct all those eyeballs reading it to your blog site. The technical term for this approach is known as a win-win situation. Number 7, write interesting headlines. You catch bees with honey, and you catch readers with catchy headlines. Using less than 70 characters, be sure to not only inform, but to hook the reader's interest and promise them something they need or want. This isn't always easy, but it shouldn't be thought of as particularly difficult either. Really, it's just a matter of not being lazy and taking a moment to let your imagination flow. And make sure your headlines eliminate any guesswork, so your reader knows exactly what they will find once committing to the read, and grab them with eye-catching, clever, or witty headlines when appropriate, of course. And lastly, let's look at a couple of advanced blog marketing tips. Number 8, define your editorial approach. As a business, you should be able to articulate who you are, what you offer, what you stand for, and what you do. This authority and clarity should be present in all of your content. Your corporate blogs must stand for the same thing your business stands for. So be sure to post blogs that make sense to you, and make sure your readers know who you are so that the posts make sense to them as well. For sloppy or reckless, flash-in-the-pan entrepreneurs, content creation drives their editorial approach. Maybe they're targeting some specific keywords and they think the more content the merrier, so they create content first and ask the question of whether or not it amplifies their core message later. This results in a collection of hodgepodge, filler content that isn't much use to anyone, and that users can spot a mile away. We all know by now that keyword stuffing, for instance, isn't just penalized by the algorithm. We also know that readers who encounter it will instantly have a poor opinion of it, and thus they'll bounce quickly. So, the same principle applies for, let's call it content stuffing. So instead, have your editorial approach drive your content. If not for the end user, at least for you and your business, the more clarity and focus you have on what your message is, the more quality content you're going to produce and curate, and the more successful you're bound to be. And number 9, utilize social integration strategies. When you create content for your blog site, don't neglect to integrate it into your social media platforms as well. You want to develop a strong promotional plan for your blog that works for each of the social platforms you're using. Any single blog post can be dissected and rearranged to work on any social media platform. And doing this at the same time that you post it on your site is both time effective and economical. And it doesn't matter how good your content is, if no one sees it, it's useless. So whether or not you're a fan of it, you can think of social media like a parade of passing ships that everyone's staring at. If you don't put your ship in there for it to be seen, then no one will know to look for you. Now again, if you want your blog site reviewed in depth, visit us on Facebook or tweet at SEO Site Checkup and share your information. You can also email us directly at information@seositecheckup.com or visit our website for more details. Just tell us where to find your blog, what you consider to be the largest problems you face, and what your short-term and long-term goals are. From there, we can help you determine if your website needs help and show you exactly where and how to fix the issues. With our experts always available, we can help you get your site on track if you're unsure where to start on your own. And in addition, our free tools can help diagnose your on-page SEO efforts and show you exactly where you stand. So why not take advantage of them and get your page on target for better traffic? Feel free to check out our other videos so you can keep fine-tuning and getting the most out of your SEO. And click subscribe to stay updated with new tips and tricks to get you to the top of the search engine results pages.